All right, so welcome everyone. It's your boy JB in a place to be, and today's video is going to be concerning an experience that I had at a Grease Monkey oil change spot. Like typically I do my own oil changes, but when the weather doesn't permit, and I outsource it just like everyone else. So before we begin, go ahead and click that like button. Be sure to leave a comment later on. I guarantee you there'll be useful information in this video. All right, so what makes this interesting is that traditionally, an oil change is typically a drain and fill. That's basically you're removing the drain plug, you remove the old oil filter, you drain out the old oil, you replace the oil filter, put back in the drain plug, refill it with new oil, and you check to make sure you got the correct levels. And that's typically what you would expect at any oil change spot, or even when you're performing your own oil change. But that isn't what happened. Whether it be a Kia or a Porsche, you're going to stare through the window to make sure that guy's doing the job that you would expect him to. And what I found was that he was not. He was doing an evacuation. Rather than draining the oil out, he was sucking it out through the oil fill cap. And then that's when he handed me this. If we look at it, so what the guy handed me was a press release from the aoca, the Automotive Oil Change Association, which will later be renamed to the Preventative Automotive Maintenance Association. Okay, these guys were founded in 1987, and they're a nonprofit organization that represents the automotive service industry. According to this release, aoca is changing its petition to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for defect investigation of Hyundai Kia oil drain pan assemblies to include 3 sets of cases during the months of July 2022, January 2023, and March 2023, totaling 137 complaints from consumers. How they got these complaints were from the consumers themselves, from online forums, and even from aftermarket servicemen themselves. If we look here, we can see that yes, the document is centered around Hyundai Kia vehicles. And so if we go further down, we can see the part in question, the oil drain pan assembly and the oil drain plug itself. And we can also see the concern here, right? aoca initiated the petition for a defect investigation after unprecedented reports of inexplicable mid-interval plug-out allegations, exclusively from Hyundai Kia vehicles. So it goes on to point out a series of oil drain pan failures, most often occurring while driving thousands of miles after service and without prior leakage or malfunction indicator lights. The cause appears to be a double gasketing due to paint camouflage factory gasket fused to either the plug or the pan, and or flimsy pan material that expands and contracts. Verified correct maintenance does not prevent these plug outs, which is prompting professional service providers to switch to oil changes via extraction only, leaving the oil drain plug untouched. When I first read through this, I asked myself, why is Hyundai and Kia here? And due to my own ignorance, I did not know that both of these companies actually share ownership amongst themselves, right? In 1997, while Kia was an independent motor company, they filed bankruptcy, giving the Hyundai Motor Group the opportunity to purchase bits of the company in 1998. And just to drive the thought a little bit further, a lot of these vehicles share the same parts, right? If you go down that aisle in Walmart, the automotive maintenance aisle, where everybody thinks they're a tech, right? If you go down that aisle, you'll see a book. Right, you'll see the same book in any auto parts store. In the book, you'll see a series of vehicles and part numbers, parts. You'll start to see a pattern, start to form there. You'll see that a lot of these parts are interchangeable between vehicles. For instance, you'll see an oil change filter for a Kia Soul, right? You'll see that same oil filter can also be put on a Hyundai Elantra, and even a Hyundai Sonata, and even a Kia Forte. Hopefully that helps explain why there's multiple vehicles with various manufacturing dates all listed in the same document. As stated earlier, there was 3 avenues of how these reports were gathered, right? How these complaints were formed, right? One was through the nhtsa, the other one was online forums, and the last one was from the shops themselves. If we look closer at what the actual complaints were, they involved, besides the oil suddenly becoming missing, one of the concerns was the absence of an oil indicator light, which is important. You want to know when your oil's low or even missing. The other was the oil consumption, the actual oil being consumed by the engine. Okay, so here we can see a possible explanation for the excessive engine oil consumption, that being the poor quality piston rings. And we also see a reply to this dude's complaint or concern. He has a theory that the low tension piston rings were used in an attempt to save on friction to increase mile per gallon. Later, we can actually see that there is justification for this. We can see that yes, this 2015 is indeed burning oil, and this particular person says that while having an oil consumption test done at the dealership, he burned over 2 quarts in under 1,000 miles, and he was told that this is normal, that this is the norm, right? He was also informed that the vehicle could quit running at any time. How's about that? Just to move even further, on the 2019 Kia Soul, we can see that there's no oil and no low oil indicator light. So there's a chance of having a plug out situation, right? No oil in the engine. That combined with excessive engine oil consumption, to topped off with a no oil light, that being a low oil light or oil change light. When these 3 things are combined, that's a recipe for disaster, right? So it would behoove anyone, like if you're driving this vehicle, why not just check your oil whenever you get gas, right? That seems like the smart thing to do. Okay, so having gone over what a few of the complaints were and the actual possible defect in the vehicle, you might be asking yourself, what can you do, right? How do you promote awareness? Maybe you own the vehicle. Maybe you know someone who operates the vehicle. You don't want your people being caught with their pants down. So how do you create awareness, right? In the comment section below, you'll find links as well as phone numbers of whether you can check to see if there is an active recall on your vehicle, or even, creating a complaint yourself, right? And in actuality, that's how these recalls get started. Okay. Complaints, either from consumers, aftermarket shops, or the warranty company. And that's important. All right, so there you have it. Hopefully, if you stuck around this far, you found the video informative, somewhat educational. If you know anyone who operates a Kia, you might want to share this video with them, help them make an informed decision whether to continue operating it, or just to be cognizant of possible problems that could be on the horizon. In the description box, you will find links as well as phone numbers to call to check to see if even your own vehicle might have a recall on it. Be sure to hit that like button, comment below, share your experience. Let's help out everybody that comes behind us, okay? You guys take care. Have a nice one. Peace.